There we go. We're professional, I swear. My name is Meredith. We are with Green Compass, and you are
You're
watching
working it.
a team training. Hold on a
Dawn
second.
Dutcher.
Oh, sorry. Let me come back onto mute.
Everybody mute.
I'll manage it.
You mean, okay, all right. So we'll try that again. We're going to do a team training. Marlies has been so gracious to jump on here and do some training for us. And for those of you who can't catch this and catch the replay, please, let us know that you're catching the replay. I hope that y'all learn a lot about this. I hope that in the near future, you can take some of this information and use it appropriately as we are getting ready to move into a new product launch within the week, which y'all are going to be super excited for this. And I can't say anymore because I'll be too excited myself and talk about it. So, y'all hold on to your hats. We are getting ready to hear from the Marlies Ledbetter. She, if you do not know, hails from the Woodlands, Texas. And she has been with Green Compass since the start, since the beginning, so 6 years. She is a cannabis know-it-all. She literally does know pretty much all of it, keeps up on all of it. She is a legitimate cannabis consultant, amongst other things. But we love her, and she always brings the most valuable information in a way that everybody can really understand it, breaks it down, and makes it where we can use it in digestible pieces. So, without further ado, Marlies Ledbetter, take it away.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to cover a couple of things. Obviously, what is the benefits of CBG and THC? Without giving away what the product is, these are the two highlighted cannabinoids in the product that we'll be launching on Monday. So I want you guys to take notes. I will share the slide deck and also the recording to your teams. So, number one, CBG or cannabigerol is a non-psychoactive compound found in hemp, mainly found in hemp, not very much found in marijuana strains. It offers potential health benefits, including anti-inflammatory properties and neuroprotective effects. THC or tetrahydrocannabinol is a psychoactive or psychotropic more accurately. Psychoactive means that it interacts with your brain. So technically all of the cannabinoids are psychoactive. Psychotropic means that it can get you high or alter your state of mind. And so THC is absolutely psychotropic. And it does offer quite a few things, but we do know that they interact together. And they're actually one of the best paired cannabinoids, and I'll tell you why. So, number one, what is CBG? So, CBG is one of 100 cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant. So, we usually only know about like 7 to 10, right? CBD, CBG, CBDA, CBGA, THC, THCA, CBC, CBN, and those are the most popular ones. But there are actually like all these variants of V's and A's and like other precursors and acids and things like that. So, but we usually just talk about the major cannabinoids, which is about 7 of them. So CBG starts as CBGA, and it CBGA means CBG plus the acid form. So just like CBDA is the acidic form of CBD or the raw form, see it starts as CBGA, and all cannabinoids start as CBGA, by the way. So when the flower still first starts growing, all that's there is CBGA, and then as it's transformed, it turns into CBG, CBDA, CBD, and THC. And then from there, we get other cannabinoids from THC, CBD, or CBG. So those are the three primary cannabinoids that all other cannabinoids come from. So during that plant cycle, CBGA is then converted into these compounds as the plant matures. And just like any other living organism, all the genetics of that seed. So when you come with marijuana and hemp, they have genetics. They have like breeds. So if you think of like canines as cannabis, right? The canine, all dogs are canines, right? And then you've got hemp and marijuana, which are what we would call like maybe subspecies. And then under that are strains, or let's say a husky versus a golden retriever, right? So that's how we think of as the genetics play a huge, huge part in which cannabinoids will be most prevalent. Meredith could sit here and talk to you all day long about how there are different variants of roses. They're all roses, but they're going to have different qualities, different types of thorns, different types of leaf structure, different smells, all of these things. And so all of those genetics and the strain of the plant is going to tell us whether or not it's going to be prevalent in CBG, CBD, THC. And that's for both marijuana and hemp, by the way. So genetics play a huge part. And then very select plants are genetically predisposed to have a majority of CBG. So if you go to our farm, and if you ever win, we had a contest where you could go to the farm last year, but we were able to actually see one field was predominantly CBD and another field was predominantly CBG. So we have genetic strains that actually predispose the plant to have higher of different cannabinoids. And that's in the hemp plant. In marijuana plants, you're going to see variances of different THC compounds. So then CBGA, so in the raw form of CBGA, it gets decarboxylated. So that means a heating, pressure, or sound process. And then it becomes CBG. Same with CBDA. CBDA, we keep it in its raw form. And then if we heat it or put pressure on it, it becomes CBD. That's why we're able to have those two cannabinoids together. If you didn't know, CBGA also occurs in our CBDA. If you actually scan the code, CBGA, CBDA, and CBD all are in CBDA isolate. It really shouldn't say isolate on there because it's 3 cannabinoids. So I just wanted a fun fact. Actually, CBDA has more than you think. Okay, so how does CBG work? It interacts with the body's endocannabinoid system just like all of the other cannabinoids, and it regulates processes like inflammation, pain, metabolism, hormones, skin health, and other things. This is, you guys know the story about the endocannabinoid system. If you don't know about the endocannabinoid system, there are certain receptors that send signals to different parts of the body. So we know that CBG specifically interacts with primarily the CB1 and CB2 receptors in the human body. And CBG binds to the CB2 receptor system. So just like THC is a binding cannabinoid, CBG is also a binding cannabinoid. CBD is not a binding cannabinoid. So CBD interacts with the body, it sends signals to the body, but it doesn't bind to the receptors. CBG binds to CB2, and THC, we'll talk about, also binds. Also, CBG interacts with TRPV1. TRPV1 is a receptor system for pain and heat sensation.
Braylon, come here.
Mute, mute, mute. Okay, back to it. All right. So TRPV1 is associated with pain and heat sensation. TRPA is involved in cold sensations and itching sensations. So another skin related is CBG. CBG interacts with TRPM8, which is linked to cold and menthol sensations. That's why when we use both CBG and menthol in our pain cream, it works really, really well with the receptor TRPM8. Then we also have alpha-2-adrenic. I don't even know how to say it properly, but it regulates your sympathetic nervous system. We call it A2A. Helps regulate sympathetic nervous system. So you have your parasympathetic, your sympathetic nervous system. So let's just call it a calming effect, okay? CBG calms things down. And your sympathetic nervous system is a really, really important function. And so if you're overcharged, you'll get a physical panic attack when you are overcharged in your sympathetic nervous system. And then obviously CBG interacts with the immune functions, your endocrine functions, your thyroid functions, your hormones. because those are all CBG, those are CB2 receptors. So if you Google or AI search CB2 receptors, it'll send you a whole list of them. Okay, let's talk about the benefits. CBG is actually one of the more researched cannabinoids. Especially became popular when we started developing hemp-derived skincare. If you've been with us for a long time, you knew that all of our skincare at the very beginning was CBD. Then we came out with a new line of skincare that was CBG, which I bought like 2 years of because I loved it so much. And now we have the CBG concentrate drops that you can add to all of your skincare. And that is 5 milligrams of CBG. Yes, Meredith. 5 milligrams per drop. So CBG is an excellent anti-inflammatory, both topically and internally. It helps with skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, acne. It really, really helps with redness and hyperpigmentation because CBG stimulates and desensitizes the TRPV1 channels, which does play a role in your inflammatory responses, providing relief for sensitive and inflamed skin. So when you start using our CBG concentrate drops on your skin, you'll notice your redness and your inflammation overall. If you use it with the gua sha tools, you'll notice that inflammation will go away even more. CBG is also antibacterial and antifungal, if you didn't know that. It also helps with MRSA, which, if anybody knows, is a resistant bacteria strain. So it's very, very dangerous. It can kill you, and it's a type of staph. And so we always want to be really, really careful with MRSA. And so since it's able to prevent and treat skin conditions like MRSA, or bacteria and fungi, it's very, very helpful.
So would you,
CBG, go ahead.
so with something like that, would that be like by ingesting CBG, not rubbing it on
Yeah,
there?
if it
Okay.
was if it was topical and you had a staph infection topically, you would obviously want to use an antibacterial topical or antibiotic with any staph infections. You don't ever want to
Right.
play around, but you can use it topically and internally as well to stack it based on
Oh,
your doctor. And because it's preventative, if you're taking it every day, you may not ever see yourself with a staph infection. Fun
interesting.
fact.
Okay.
So also our immune jellies help with that too. CBG helps with sebum regulation. So for acne issues, it helps form a protective barrier that prevents your skin from going through water loss. And it also helps with bacterial and environmental damage. Helps with the sebaceous glands. It helps with acne-prone skin. A lot of times people that have acne-prone skin are really suffering from like fungal acne, which is really helpful with CBG, as well as really people with acne sometimes just have a dryness issue and their skin is overproducing oil, or they have a hormone issue and they need to be regulating their hormones, which CBG also does. CBG is great for anti-aging. So we just see, people's aging slow down. It helps prevent wrinkles, fine lines, enhances skin elasticity. So these are all things that CBG does topically. Now we're going to talk about brain health. CBG is more known for mood and cognitive function. So CBG is really, really well built alongside like the Mind Bloom. So you could have like a broad spectrum jelly that has CBD and CBG in it and pair that with the Mind Bloom for cognitive health, for focus, for neuroprotection. So anybody who's dealing with neurodegenerative issues, that's really, really helpful. Hold on just a second. I'll be right back.
Do, 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 do,
I'm
do.
not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad she had to take a break because I'm catching up in my notes.
Because you're getting cramps in your hand.
Yeah. So when she was talking about staph, so my son had a staph infection and it came back, and he finally listened to his mama. and did what his doctor said, but also started doing the CBG. And he did that topically on it, and then he was taking the immune jellies, and it's now cleared up. So thank you for validating that, Marlies. I thought it was just me being smart, but it really is a
You're
miracle.
welcome. And I do have references and links to all of this research. So I'll
Yay.
have some information at the end that you can scan and find all that. So we know brain health. We also have seen, and this is not to be shared outside the team, FYI. We also see it really, really helpful with autism. CBG is the cannabinoid that helps autism the most, or what we would call sensory disorder issues. So, like someone like myself who has sensory issues with clothing, with bras, with lighting, with sound. So, like, some days I will just be highly sensitive and I'll literally be like losing it because things are touching me and looking at me. And I've had this my whole life, and it used to interrupt me where I like couldn't wear certain clothes. I mean, I would have meltdowns over clothes. I would have issues with being in school with the lighting. If I was around a lot of sound that was chaotic, it would bother me, or a lot of people talking at the same time. So I would usually just find myself self-soothing. Like I've figured out a way to just like block everyone out. Thankfully, I learned this as a young kid, but now we have CBG that softens that sympathetic nervous system. So we're finding that kids, yes, socks and underwear. For real, like I don't even wear socks because I hate them so much. I mean, if they come down off my ankle just a little bit, I'll throw them in the trash. Um, and don't even get me started on underwear and bras. All right. So sensory issues, nervous system dysregulation is very, very like occurs a lot of times with kids with autism, adults with autism. I'm ADHD, which means I'm hyperactive. My brain works a mile a minute, and I'm sensitive to everything. So I'm just like a joy to be around. Um, CBG offers relaxation, so it's not going to relax you like, for instance, THC would relax you, right? Like a broad spectrum or a full spectrum or an unwind jelly would. But CBG is a natural relaxant. So you might find that you get energy by being relaxed. And I know that makes no sense, but when your body is less stressed, when your sympathetic nervous system is slightly lowered, and we've got a nice amount of cortisol lowering chemicals like serotonin. Everyone talks about serotonin and CBDA, right? It feels like a nice warm hug, but you're not necessarily tired, right? You can have energy in replace of feeling stressed. Why? Because your body is using less resources to be stressed out and worry about your dysfunctions and your trauma and your anxiety and your nervous system being hyper aroused. And so, because you're not dealing with that, you actually end up with more energy. So, some people say our collagen specifically gives them energy during the day when they take it, but you can also take it at night for sleep because it's not necessarily sedative, it's calming down the things that are bothering you. So, if you can't focus during the day because you're stressed and you can't sleep at night because you're stressed, boom, does that make sense? CBG helps with mood and relaxation, offering a sense of calm while maintaining focus and clarity. So you're calm and you're focused and clear. Best of both worlds, which CBD doesn't necessarily do. It doesn't bind, right? So CBD does like 100 different things. That's why it's like the best of all the worlds, because it connects to everything, but it doesn't necessarily like fully lock in. So CBG, when you add that, again, it's in all of our broad spectrum products. So you're getting CBD and CBG all the time. Okay. Any questions on CBG? Moving to THC? Okay. So THC technically is the most studied cannabinoid with the most history. It is the one that is most confusing because it has pretty strong psychotropic effects, right? You can take a microdose and be good all day. You feel chill, you feel awesome, you've got energy, you've got focus, you've got creativity, all the great things, right? Microdosing THC is amazing. You have a little bit more, and now we're into the chill zone. We're into the more goofy, silly zone. Then we have a little bit more. Ooh, I'm feeling loosey goosey. And then next stage after that is stoned. So or high, like, I mean, it might take a few more milligrams to get to stoned, but it is a very, very strong, what we call biphasic cannabinoid. If you have too little, you might not get the relief that you want for, let's say, pain, but you take too much and now you feel everything, including the pain and your high. So we have to be really, really careful about what we call these bell curves or the Goldilocks phase is THC for everyone is always going to be different. So when in doubt, microdose. Obviously, THC is very, very, very well known for relaxation, stress relief, sleep support. Um, Obviously, legally, THC is defined in different areas for different reasons. We are still federally legal. So Green Compass is not a store. So most of the state laws don't even apply to us. And as long as the state law doesn't have a possession law attached to it, we're still golden. So for right now, you can sell to anybody who can carry THC around. That's the rule. We can ship it to any state. There hasn't been any issues with that. THC binds to the CB1 and CB2 receptors. And it also interacts directly with the brain and the central nervous system, which is why it has such a strong influence on mood, perception of stress, perception of reality, and relaxation responses. I also have here that THC binds to receptors having known to increase appetite. So very, very helpful for people with eating disorders, people with cancer treatments going on, people that just tend to not have a very healthy appetite. Sometimes kids are this way. And yes, THC is safe for children. It's safe for animals. So we just want to be really careful about how much we give to a child who's way more sensitive than us. And also, animals do not have the same type of receptors that we have. We're much more complicated species than they are. So be careful if you do give full spectrum to your animals that you monitor it and you microdose them. And when we're talking microdoses, 1 to 2 drops of full spectrum because their pain tolerance levels are way different than human beings. So yes, you can give it to them, but yes, also your animal can get high. Your kid can get high too, right? So everyone can get high. Now, kids under the age of 12 will not perceive being high like we perceive high. Their frontal cortex isn't developed, so they will not feel loosey-goosey, weird, and buzzy, right? They might just feel really relaxed. They don't get high. Does that make sense? They don't perceive high. Neither do animals. They just will be relaxed and they don't go through the same type of cognitive things that we go through as adults. Just so you guys know that. And that's been like clearly defined. So if your kid gets into your jellies, the best thing for you to do is hydrate them, put them in a bath, play some good music, play with them, have fun, and let it ride its course. There's nothing a hospital can do for you. If it's Green Compass, right? If you've ingested anything from anywhere else, you probably should go to the hospital because God knows what's in some of these other products on the street. Very scary. But again, THC can make you feel high. Okay, moving on. The benefits of THC obviously are relaxing, so helping users unwind after a long day. It helps promote what we call slow wave sleep, which is deep sleep. It also helps that THC may decrease your sleep latency. So sleep latency is the time it takes to fall fully asleep. So it shortens that time. So if you've ever taken in wine jelly and then you're scrolling on your phone and you're like, I can't even do it. And you like close your eyes and like, bam, you're asleep. Which is why I love them. I'm like, I take a half, I like chew a half off and I scroll through Instagram and I'm like, can't even make it through my messages. I'm going to bed. And I don't even charge my phone sometimes. I just throw it on the floor because I'm so ready to fall asleep. It happened yesterday. I didn't even charge my phone. And then it also increases slow wave sleep, which we would call like delta sleep, like really deep, deep delta wave sleep. And this is really good for people that have insomnia or have trouble winding down. So really keep in mind unwind jellies and what's coming will help people calm down. THC has helped to suppress REM sleep, so it helps reduce nightmares in some people. But again, remember, it's biphasic, so if you don't take the right amount, it can increase nightmares, right? So everything with THC, so you'll hear two sides of every story. I love it. It makes me sleep. It's great, blah, blah, blah. Keeps me awake. I have nightmares. I feel weird, right? Everyone's going to have that. And all you have to tell your customers is when you use THC products, know that you have to find what's right for you. And our job is to help them through that. Hold their hand. You don't have to know all the science. All you have to do is try a quarter, try a half, try 3/4, try a whole, and find out which one's right for you, right? Everyone's Goldilocks is different. So if they don't like the effects, they go back to the dose they tried the day before. Remember, a lot of it, THC especially, will build a tolerance. The higher you use it, the more you get high. When you get high, to be fair, if you feel high, you have just hit your maximum. You're outside of your maximum. So when you get high, that's not what we're looking for, right? We're looking right below that, where you feel nice and loose and chill. Altered is where you've had too much. Now, some people go for that effect, right? Some people are looking for the recreational high. But technically, scientifically, when you felt that high, when you feel altered, you have now ingested too much. You have overdosed for your tolerance, not overdosed as an overdose death, right? None of cannabis can make you die, but you've hit your limit. And so if you keep hitting that limit and you keep getting high every single day, guess what? The tolerance line goes up and goes up and goes up and goes up, and it'll continue to go up. That's why people need more and more and more and more and more, because they are just slightly above their tolerance level. If you find your Goldilocks zone, you won't have these tolerance issues. So just to keep in mind with your clients, if you hear, now it is 1 in 10 people will have an insane tolerance. I have some clients that can easily take 5 unwind jellies. It's nuts. They don't even feel it. My daughter's a redhead. She can ingest 3 unwind jellies and barely feel it. So redheads for some reason have really high tolerances. They also need like double anesthesia.
Yeah.
So it's just a thing. So just know that does happen. So whatever someone tells you, you always understand where they're coming from versus telling them, I've never heard anything like that, or that never happens. Always validate them and go, oh, that's really interesting. I usually tell people when they say, hey, Marlies, I got high, I just write back enjoy. I don't I don't try to make it a bad thing. Listen, we all need to have a little bit of fun. And so if you feel a little bit high, hey, tomorrow not take that much, but enjoy it right now. Go put on some music, go stick your butt in the bath and enjoy it for the next hour and a half. Okay? Just chill.
Well, and Marlies, do you find that so when you say somebody says that they feel high, right? What I think sometimes is it goes back to what you said earlier. We all forget what it's like to feel calm
That's true too.
and just not be all anxious and anxiety ridden and running a million miles an hour. So sometimes they're not high per what we would all consider high. They're just really relaxed and they can hear and see and feel and be present of all the things around them.
Yes.
So um
But I
I,
will tell you, like, I had 2 unwind jellies and I couldn't feel my legs. So that would technically be high.
that
So
would be
as
fun.
soon
Yeah.
as you become altered enough where you cannot operate heavy machinery, you're technically high.
Yes.
Okay. And it's okay, right? I'm a minister. I work with churches and I minister to people and I work in addiction. So it's really, really important for us to not necessarily like okay utilizing things in a dangerous way, right? Like we don't want people to be going and drinking and driving, just like we don't want people getting high and driving. So we are using these for medicinal purposes, but people will end up using products for recreational purposes. They don't want to drink alcohol. They'd rather have a boozy bev. They want to chill at night and they're taking the unwind right before bed, right? They're not going anywhere for 2 hours. So I want you guys to remember that how people utilize these products are really none of our business. But like Lisa said, it possibly can be that they are just very calm and they don't know what calm feels like, so they equate it to high. you have to ask them, do you feel impaired?
Right.
That's where high lives, right? And a lot of people don't, they're so calm that they feel like they might be impaired, but they're really not. They're just chill. And this world is so stressed out that most people think that that's what high feels like. But high is technically tipsy, right? So if you know what tipsy feels like for wine, same thing for THC. I just want to really emphasize this because we launched the unwind jellies, which is 2.5 milligrams of THC, which is nano THC, which for some of us hits pretty hard. You really feel it. So if we have products that come out with even higher amounts of THC, just be ready for those conversations because you don't have to sell recreational products, you guys. You don't have to sell things that make you feel uncomfortable. But if you're gonna sell it, you better know about it. Cool? All right. Obviously, since we're here, it helps relax your muscles. So if you are taking two unwind jellies and you can't feel your legs, you probably shouldn't drive. And this is because it does bind to the CB1 receptor. So we're talking the brain and central nervous system. It helps really, really well with people that have issues like MS. So they have spasticity issues. Their everything is really tense, so this relaxes it. Chronic pain disorders, and really anything that would need mental and physical relaxation. So just think about that. Somebody has an injury, they need their body to be relaxed. THC is great for that. People have spasticity issues or neurodegenerative disease issues, tremors, right? We've all
Yep.
seen, for some of you OGs, there's a video of this client who took our products and literally stopped shaking within 30 minutes. So we know for a fact that THC stops tremors in their tracks. So if you know people that have Parkinson's and MS, and Alzheimer's and dementia, like Alzheimer's and dementia makes people mean. And when they
Yeah.
start having those mood disorders, you want to calm their butt down. And they're usually in memory care or some sort of care. So having THC bedside is actually a really great thing. And I have lots of clients that have their parents taking THC products like Unwind or Full Spectrum or our Full Spectrum tinctures because it chills them out where their behaviors aren't aggressive. Okay. All right, so why would we want to take these together? So CBG, CBD, THC, and CBC and CBN all interact with each other. CBDA doesn't. So take the A's away. The entourage effect really just means that when you have more than one cannabinoid present, they start boosting each other's signals. So the more cannabinoids you have, the more of an entourage effect you get. So technically, our most entourage product is the full spectrum tincture. The full spectrum tincture has the most cannabinoids. It has 7 of them. It has terpenes in it and flavonoids. Because it hasn't been made into a gummy, it still preserves all of the plant matter, the extra doodads. In a jelly, to make a jelly, things have to be extracted a little bit more. Otherwise, we would have really weedy tasting products. So the jelly is not as entourage effect as the tincture. So usually in medical situations, we're always going to be referring, in my practice and the practices that I work with, is we always refer the tincture above the jellies. Number one, because it's easier to dose. You can microdose with tinctures much easier than cutting up a jelly. Or you can't cut a jelly really very accurately down past four cuts or a fourth. Whereas a tincture, we can literally do 40 drops in one tincture. So 40 different doses. And then the other part of it is that when someone has something like cancer or they can't have certain flavors and things like that, that's where sometimes the full spectrum natural is like the way to go. So the 1000 milligram full spectrum natural is the product that I probably refer the most for medical situations. It's got that nice small amount of THC. It works and boosts CBD. It helps interact with CBG and CBN and CBC that are all in the full spectrum together. Now, CBDA does not interact with any of the cannabinoids, and so CBDA should always be paired over with a full spectrum product together if you want the best effect. So we never want to leave CBDA out. Why does this happen? Because THC and CBG both work on CB1 and CB2 receptors. That's why they're best paired together, and they both bind to those receptors. THC binding to CB1 and CBG binding to CB2. That's why CBG is used in skincare, THC is used for brain things, and together they're super duper powerful. Here's a little chart that I made. Super easy, super simple. Obviously, CBG is not psychotropic. You cannot get high from CBG. You can definitely feel calm with CBG. You will never get high. THC, yes, you can get high in higher amounts. The legal status of CBG, it is absolutely fully legal. We will likely actually see there's a couple pharmaceutical companies making drugs from CBG. And so we'll likely be seeing a CBG related cousin of Epidiolex. Epidiolex is a CBD big pharma drug for seizures. We'll likely see CBG for spasticity, for other things that CBG is good for. The legal status of THC is know your laws in your state, okay? I can't keep up with it anymore. I'm just fighting for Texas at this point. But know that we still have most of our products don't have THC in them, so you'll still be able to sell a buttload of products. There's only 2, 3 products that have THC in them, so don't worry about it. If you can't sell it in your state, then you can sell it in all the other states. So go sell to those states, right? Target areas for CBG is gut, brain, and mood. Those are the 3 things you have to think about the most. Why does CBG in our collagen? Hello, the gut. Why is it in our broad spectrum? Why is it in anything else? For mood? And then, partnering with Mind Bloom, you guys, CBG and the Mind Bloom are beautiful. And then mood. We know that it's really good. People take our broad spectrum jellies all the time or broad spectrum oils, and they just feel great all day. Super anti-inflammatory too. Target areas for THC, obviously pain, appetite, sleep. That's what it's known for. You get the munchies, it knocks your ass out. It'll stop pain and on contact. THC is very, very effective. Again, you have too much THC, the pain will feel worse. It's a really funny subject. And CBG is best for focus, digestion, nerves, inflammation, and THC is best for sleep, alcohol replacement, and acute pain relief. Right? So if the pain is coming from a chronic inflammation issue, then THC is not the one you would go for as the most predominant, but you'd still want it in the mix because it can help with the acute pain relief, but we want to get to the inflammation location. Okay, let's talk about daily use. I don't know why this isn't going forward. Okay. With THC and CBG, both of these apply. In the morning, start your day with a low dose for energy. You can microdose THC in the morning for energy, creativity, focus, all kinds of things. You have too much, then you're in a different window, right? So microdosing THC in the morning is fantastic for energy. Same with CBG. A lower dose, maybe you want a half of a packet or half a scoop of collagen mixed in with your energy drink, and then maybe you want a full or 2 scoops for the evening, right? Because CBG in higher amounts calms you down more. Same with THC. Afternoon, you could do a dose, which is good for productivity. And then evening, obviously, you would do a higher dose for relaxation. So this is just when people are asking you, when should I take it? How much should I take it? With most of the cannabinoids, less for energy, more for relaxation. Just always remember, less for energy, more for relaxation. And that goes for almost all the cannabinoids, technically. Okay. Green Compass obviously sets the standards. I don't need to tell you much, but if you're new here, we test our products through every single stage of the process. We test our soil, our farm is tested, then our crop is tested, the raw part, then the dry part is tested, then it goes into a full first mode extraction, that's tested. Our distillate is tested, and the really honey looking resin is tested. Then we test it again once it's put into the product. So we have like 7 stages, and then we send it away to have our work double checked. And that's where we get our third-party testing. And then we have the label, obviously, on all of our products. And we also use eco-friendly practices. Our all of our bags are compostable, right? We're using glassware now, and we're going to eventually continue to move towards being a B Corp, which means that we have the highest level of ethics and eco-friendly processes. Okay, safety and legality. Obviously, we just went through this in Texas. I know North Carolina has a bill that's on the table. Um, Here's the thing. If there's something going on in your state, get loud. Just get loud. They will listen because listen, Texas, we had 150,000 people on that petition, and tens of thousands of people wrote letters in. And what it made them very aware of is that prohibition of THC doesn't work and people need access to it. Now, what will probably happen in the future is there will be caps on the amount of THC that's sold in products. Green Compass is very smart. So we're staying within the window of 2.5 to 5 milligrams of THC because likely they'll probably put a cap at 5. If they put a cap at 4, we'll be safe, right? 2.5 will be safe. So we have to remember that Green Compass is watching all the states and making sure that we at least hit the levels that will likely be there. And then of course, all of the other regulation that's happening around THC bans and things like that has to do with child marketing, obviously safe jars. So like our unwind jars, I wanted to show you, like you have to push them down and turn them to open them. They are child safe. Same with our full spectrum products. And we'll eventually continue that with all of our other products. But make sure you know the compliance in your state. I would really only worry about possession laws. We will never have a problem unless they change the federal law to selling it because we're an e-commerce business. So online, like you can buy anything online, you guys. Did you know that? I have a friend that bought magic mushrooms online in chocolates, and it's beautifully packaged. Marketing's amazing. You have no idea what's in it unless you knew what's in it, right? And that's how they get away with it. So e-commerce is they can't control it, and they never really will. But if there's a possession law, don't carry it with you, right? Don't travel to other countries with THC or CBD, honestly. Don't do it unless you know the laws. Okay. Um, Number one, CBG and THC products are suitable for adults seeking natural relief. They can be for people with individual medical concerns. So there are children that use CBG and THC because they need it, like right, certain types of autism, certain types of chronic disorders, inflammation, MS, MD, all of it, right? Like there's so many ways that it would be appropriate for a child to have THC, but that needs to go through the parent first, right? And there should be no reason why your teenagers are taking it just for fun, okay? Especially if we move into a recreational market where there's products that could be misused by teens or children. Keep your stuff under lock and tell your clients.
Alex.
Yes? Tara, are you trying to say something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I thought I heard her. Okay. And then obviously people looking for wellness solutions. Do we have any testimonials that you guys would like to share on your use of our higher THC products?
Oh, I was gonna say CBG.
Okay, you can do CBG too.
So, some have heard my story, some have not. I started using CBD before Green Compass even came into the picture because I was having severe gut issues. TMI, but I was probably going to the bathroom somewhere between 5 and 10 times a day. I had very, very bad cramping. I lost 15 pounds within a month. My color had changed. It got to the point where my mom asked me if I had cancer, because I had drastically changed so much in like a 30 to 60 day window. And it was debilitating. Like there were days where I would go into Philip's office and lay down on the couch because the pain in my stomach was so bad. In turn, I was eating ibuprofen like candy. I had had my second child. My cycles were all wonky. Again, more ibuprofen. It was a cycle. When I went to the doctor, they told me that I had something called microscopic colitis. and prescribed me a medication that was going to cost me $2,000 for a 30-day supply. I had literally just dropped my insurance about 3 months before that, and that wasn't feasible, nor did I want to be on medication for that long. So that's when I started taking CBD, and it helped. Like, it helped with the inflammation. It kind of got me back to a place where with CBD and better eating practices, like I could manage it. It was not interrupting my life so much. But then when we launched the collagen product, which of course we all thought hair, skin, nails, vanity, type product, but we knew it was good for joints and ligaments as well. It never dawned on me that it would be a gut thing. But quite literally, CBG has been the biggest game changer in my personal gut health out of anything that we've got. And it's been an absolute godsend.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
CBG is the cannabinoid that you want to use to rebuild your gut. 100%. That is why it's in the collagen. That is why we chose that for, gut and internal health specifically. Again, CBG is in our full spectrum, our broad spectrum, both tinctures and jellies, in the collagen, in all of our skincare, and in our upcoming product. CBDA is also really well paired with gut health because the gut is mainly made of nerves. The brain has the most concentration of nerves, but then the gut has the second amount of concentration. And because CBDA works on the nerves, you want to pair CBDA in. So anybody that has gut issues, CBG and CBDA all day long, every day until the end of the earth. Okay, anybody have a testimony specifically on THC? Or maybe the unwind jellies?
Well, I can hop in on that one, Marlies. I'll tell you, menopause is not fabulous for sleep. Let's just go with that. And I was never one that our sleep jellies just really didn't work well for me for sleep. So I've always been a sleep boost girl. Love it. So when the Unwind came out, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. And I can't believe the amount of sleep, the good sleep that I'm getting. And I didn't really relate it until you were talking about the sleep latency, right? I'm like asleep, I don't know, in like 7 minutes or less, where before I was the one who would lay with my pillow and I'd toss and turn, and 35 minutes later, I'd still be awake. But what I'm finding is, and I find it really interesting, is that there are now nights I don't need to take it. And I believe, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's also because it's breaking the habit of my mind being so active at bedtime that it's now my brain is going, hey, she's in bed, she's put down her book, it's really time to go to sleep. And so I love that about it.
That's amazing. And that is so true. When you start using our products, I always tell people it takes 6 weeks for your body to get on board. It takes another 6 weeks to build a behavior. So if you've ever worked out for 6 weeks, you have now built a behavior of your body wanting to work out, right? 6 weeks to make a habit, basically. And so when we're taking any type of product that we're utilizing for sleep regulation, stress, things like that, our body actually then develops habits naturally. And so that's why we see a lot of times with like dog treats, when you reward the dog and then the dog settles down, the dog will naturally start settling down for you as they have good behavior and they start understanding that it's good, right? So it's the same kind of training that we go through ourselves where we go, oh, it's okay to settle down and go to bed. It's okay to put my phone away. It's okay for me to close my eyes. I don't have anything to worry about. I can't control the future. I'm sitting in gratitude now. And so you'll feel that with the product And then all of a sudden you'll look and go, oh my gosh, I still feel that way without it because your body has now healed. It's got its checks and balances. It's what we're calling, back into homeostasis. And that might shift back again in the next couple days of not taking the product. That's why I always tell people, if you're not sure it's working, take a break for 3 to 5 days. You'll know for sure. And so sometimes it'll shift back, but then you're like, oh, just take another one, right? And like get back on track. And here's the fun thing about especially THC specifically is you can take breaks pretty periodically. Just number one, to set your tolerance, and then number two, to reestablish how much you need. Because I find, back in my 20s that I could use a lot of THC, and now like the tiniest amount is all I can tolerate. Unless I'm going like, down the river all day. But both really, really valid ways to use it. I'm so glad that Lisa, you're getting that for menopause. I'm getting a lot of women message me like, "What's good for hot flashes? What do you have to like knock my ass out?" And I'm like, unwind, unwind for sure. Okay, I want to give you guys an open opportunity to quickly ask any questions you have about CBG or CB or THC. And if not, then I'll have some scan codes where you can read two of the blog posts that our company actually put out on CBG and THC if you want additional information and references.
Can you actually really quickly tell us again the difference between binding when they're binding versus whatever?
Yeah. So, okay, here's an analogy. Would you hear me better if I yelled across the parking lot or if I was actually attached to your back?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When they bind, they are directly connected. So the feedback loop is constant. Whereas
Okay.
CBD is more like a megaphone. So it's doing the work, but it's doing more like as if a coach was yelling at the basketball players, and the CBD or CBG and THC are like on the court,
Okay.
right? They're both able to still make baskets because they're part of the game.
So it's kind of like Ratatouille. It's like having the rat in your hair making you do all the moves.
Yes, the Ratatouille could be sitting in the kitchen yelling at you, but
Right.
if he's actually controlling your head, yeah, say yeah for sure. And there is a lot of science on this, and I can send you guys. It is in our boards, but under the science, it has a little receptor, and it says like how CBD works in the endocannabinoid system, and you can see the science of what a binding molecule does versus an active molecule. So CBDA is inactive. What it's doing is it's encouraging the production of the body doing it itself, right? So it helps develop androgynous or what we call endocannabinoids, so like the ones that we make androgynously. But THC and CBG will directly mimic it and therefore replace it,
Hmm.
which is why they build tolerances.
Okay.
That makes sense. Science is hard, y'all. I'm just good at explaining it. Sometimes I can't even read the words.
So,
Um,
Marlies, so when you were talking about children with autism and how awesome the CBG is for that. So currently in our product line, as of today, if you have a child that's dealing with those types of things, is that going to be the collagen, or are you
uh,
giving them a broad spectrum?
Broad spectrum is a good amount of CBG for sure.
Okay.
If they can have the collagen, if they can tolerate the collagen, that would be a great add-on. And honestly, there's a lot more that goes into autism, and it's very different for a lot of different kids. But when I look at it, it's typically methylation problems. Gut health is a huge part. That's why when we change diets, a lot of times a lot of the symptoms go away where you can still be autistic, but the symptoms of it, like I'm ADHD, I don't necessarily have anything I'm suffering from, right? Like I'm hyperactive, my brain's all over the place. Can I still run a business? Yes. Right. I've just learned to morph it now. But some people are disordered to the point where they can't have a productive day. Right. So that could be because their gut is really messed up, right? Could be. So there's so many issues. We've got people that are injured from shots and people that have genetic predispositions, right? A lot of us carry flags for sickness and disease, but our lifestyle is what triggers it. So when people go around saying, this is genetic, yes, but what did you do to turn that flag on? Because just because you carry the marker doesn't mean it's going to turn on. So you gotta, I mean, say like everyone in my family had diabetes. There in no way I'm getting diabetes because I'm not eating a lot of sugar. I'm regulated. My insulin levels are great, right? So I choose not to step into that, generational, let's really call it like
Yeah.
conditioning, like repeating the patterns. So a lot of times in science, people call it genetic, but it's really just passed down behaviors. And we can stop it, right? We can choose to eat clean. We can choose not to use toxins. We can choose to use clean supplements. We can support our body preventatively and acutely with cannabinoids and mushrooms. Um, Hopefully, we'll have some more mushroom products coming out soon too. So, but I just wanted to address CBG and THC because a lot of people will be asking us, why did you use them together? What is the point of these two cannabinoids? What are their benefits? And when you see how it's made on Monday at the 10 a.m. or for you guys 11 a.m. call, um, you will know specifically why, and it'll click with you, and you guys will have the upper hand because nobody else is getting this training of what you're going to feel when you use this product. And you're going to
I'm
love
so
the delivery.
excited.
You're going to love the delivery of it. And it's not just a product launch, you guys. It is a whole, I can't even say
Stop
category.
it. Stop it. Just stop it. Don't do it. Don't
It's
do it.
just, it's like even bigger. It's bigger than like, it's
It's
so
too
big.
good. Just
It's
don't.
so big. So, they did put out a reel recently where if you pause it, you pretty much know what it is. Did anybody notice that? Like when you look on there, if you go to Green Compass's Instagram and you go up the feed and they have the blurred out product, you can kind of tell. Like if you really think about it hard enough, you can tell what it is. But that's not what we're announcing, all of it, because there's
Stop.
more to the whole thing. So just know that 10 a.m. on Monday, number one, have your credit cards ready and have your phones ready to text all of your clients, and then also be ready for the next level of this company because it's about to go down, you guys. I can't say anything else.
You don't.
I can't.
It's too good. I'm
It's
so
too
excited for
good,
you guys.
and it's wonderful. I can't even say how it feels or anything because I'll give it away. Okay, these two codes. If you will click on one with your camera and then just say open in Google Chrome and then scan the other one, open in Google Chrome, that'll open two tabs and that'll give you some understanding on CBG and THC. These are both on our website, you guys. So your website, whatever your name is, .greencompassglobal.com. If you go to um, Hemp 101 all the way at the
Mm.
bottom, there's like educational blogs that we've written. And so both of these are in there. So when clients ask you about CBG or THC, instead of writing them or sending them a whole ass text, just send them that. They can read it themselves.
Hi, honey,
And
I
then
love
I'm
you.
sure we're gonna have plenty of marketing that'll tell why we put them together and how it's formulated and what it feels like and la 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 la. But be ready for the most lemony celebration of your life. They already said it was lemons, so
They did say it was lemons.
we know
They've
that
they've definitely dropped the lemon hint.
they did.
Yeah.
So we
So,
know it's made with lemons.
yep.
And we know it's
A
made
cool
with
deal.
CBG and THC.
Um,
All you got
well,
now.
Marlies, as soon as you get done getting that recording, I'd appreciate it if you pushed it over so we can get it to all those that were not able to make it tonight. But that was fantastic. I feel like